Very warm welcome. It's Gene from Mavstar. Thought as we've got a bit of time this afternoon, I'd get the equipment out and do the latest Earth Alpha at a glance for you. I just want to pull down the data and show you how to use this, because we've built up now an archive of data on those things that you're looking at on the screen since 2020. That's nearly 5 years, guys. And I'm going to tell you how to use it now. Let's just take any one of those things that we monitor here at the observatory, like CO2, oxygen, the radiation background, volcanoes in eruption, largest earthquake, or the muons here in the UK, or the muons in Canada, or even the sunspot numbers. Right? If you do just take one of those out of that list there and go, say, like atmospheric CO2, it's at 445 parts per million, but the last time we measured it, it was at 433. And then if we go again, 440. Now, all you've got to do to make this information that I provide useful to you is write those numbers down and the date at which it was taken. And you don't have to do it back over the 4.5 years, because there's quite a few of these now that we've done. But even if you just wanted to know over the last year or the last 2 years, you could find out very easily. You know, all you need is the date and the amount of CO2 in parts per million. And if you use Excel, which is free on most computers, and just plot those two figures in and do a simple graph, you will find out just by looking at that graph within seconds whether over the last year, 2 years, or even the 4.5 years that we've been collecting the data, whether or not it is on the increase or on the decrease. You can do that for the atmospheric oxygen, background radiation, volcanoes, muons, earthquakes. You will get a general idea of how things are performing with these anomalies over that period of time that we've been collecting it. That's why we've got the archive. Now, as far as I'm aware, no one else on any other YouTube channel has got an archive of that data, and that's for a couple of reasons. They don't record it like we do and then upload it on our website so that people can take that information freely and then plot the charts themselves, or the other reason is that they haven't got the equipment to monitor these things themselves. And that's the two very reasons why we do it. We have the equipment, so we know exactly what the information is. We're getting back out the equipment, and then we archive it on the website. I hope you find that now I've explained this to you, how valuable this data is that we collect. And I know a lot of people don't really pay too much attention to the Earth Alpha at a glance, but it is important. And you know what I like about it is that we collect that data here ourselves with our own equipment, and therefore we don't have to rely on possibly not so trustworthy mainstream organisation with their data, because we've got our own, and we've got our own equipment. Now, I wouldn't expect you guys to go out there building yourself muon detectors, sending them around the world, or the magnetometers, sending them around the world, or even building yourself a TriMag system, because you know, it took, like I've said before, 2 years to program the TriMag, and it was only on the back of learning that program, how to program that we managed to program then the oxygen sensor and the muon. Well, we was given the muon detectors, but some of the other equipment like the magnetometers that we've programmed, and you know, all that stemmed from the TriMag learning curve, so to speak. But we give you it free. All we ask is that a couple of you chip in. And you know, like I said at the beginning of the video, I really hope now that you can utilise this as a tool, because if you want to know if the volcanoes are on the eruption, on the increase, and for how long a period you want to go back, that we've got the archive available, which is 4.5 years, you can find it out yourself. You haven't got to rely on any of the companies to do it, and it doesn't take long to familiarise yourself if you've never used Excel, which is, you know, you can build spreadsheets, data analysis and stuff like that. You can filter out uncertainties if you want by simply clicking on the filter, you know, highlighting all the columns and then selecting the column that you want to filter. Very easy, and you can find tutorials on YouTube how to do that. So, you know, I hope you find it a little bit more interesting than me just telling you what the information is there. I mean, I will do it anyhow. Might as well get that out of the way. So, you know, starting off with your CO2 in parts per million, Today we measured it at 445 parts per million. Oxygen is over 20%, in fact, to be accurate, 20.12. There's the latest longitude and latitude of the magnetic North Pole position. Then you've got your radiation background count in microsieverts, and then you've got your volcanoes in eruption, not showing signs of eruption. We only monitor the ones that are actually in eruption, so there's 32 of those. Latest earthquake within the last 24 hours is 5.3, South Sandwich Island region. We've got the muons per square metre per hour here in the UK at 538, and in Canada at 746. Sunspot total today on the date that we've took the measurement, and that's at the top, is at 12, and the geomagnetic field is quiet at the moment, and the solar X-rays are normal. So, like I say, it's a very useful tool if you go back into the archive. I mean, just look at all this data. All the dates and the amounts are there for you, so you could do a double chart if you wanted to, but I don't want to make things overcomplicated. I mean, I could do a chart for the date and the amount of all of those, and we could have a different coloured line for, say, volcanoes in eruption, different colour line for the atmospheric oxygen and the CO2 and all the others. But it would take a bit of time to build up a chart for that, and that's why I literally write the amounts down for you guys very simply, put the date there, and if you just want information on CO2, you don't have to copy the whole chart out, because it is time consuming, that's the only thing. And of course you've got to be accurate in the way you record the data. So for me to do this for you guys, I'd have to do each month that we've done it, or if we've done it twice a month, I'd have to write that data down, and then I'd have to write the amounts down for each of the equipment that we got. So there you are. I said to the you guys that if you chipped in a few bucks, I would keep this coming on YouTube for you guys, so that you wouldn't have to go over to the website if you didn't want to, and you wouldn't be barred from the information, and it wouldn't be just the patrons that are receiving it, because I know the patrons are happy to chip in a few bucks as well on the PayPal, as well as support me on Patreon. But we kept it cheap on Patreon. But I know some people are struggling at this time of crisis, living crisis, or the cost of living crisis, and I know it's not always doable for some people. But I'd rather a few of us chip in that can, and I know out of 2,000 more than a few could, and that wouldn't stop anyone getting it. And also those that chipped in could get a little bit of a good feeling factor out of that as well, that they've done a good deed for somebody that couldn't. And that's all there is to say. That's the latest Earth Elf at a glance for you guys. And I hope that me going through the reason why we do it and how we do it is so that you, if you want to at some point, you can just take the data, chart it, and find out and answer that question for yourself. Are they on the increase? Is any one of those anomalies that we monitor on the increase, or are they on the decrease? There you go. Link down there in the description. And if PayPal's not for you, maybe Patreon. And I will get back to you within a few days for the latest positioning of the magnetic North Pole. And again, if people support us on YouTube, we will gladly keep supporting you with the data. That's why we built the observatory. Okay, as always guys, have a great day, look after your loved ones, and as always, bye for now.